Hey everyone, today I'm swapping my filter over to the Oase BioMaster2 250. It's been about a week since I finished the hardscape and started the dark start on my SuperFish Scaper 90. Right now, the tank is still running on the stock SuperFish filter. It was fine for the first few days, but for the growth I'm planning, I need something more powerful. I'm moving to the Oase because Brazilian-style layouts use very dense stem plants and steep slopes. The Scaper 90 is also quite deep from front to back, so I need strong flow to reach around these large rocks and through those thick plant groups to prevent dead spots and algae. Most importantly, this filter gives me way more room for biomedia. Since I'm using high-power LEDs, I need a massive colony of good bacteria to keep the water stable. Next, I'm pulling the Oase Heat Up 150 out of the tank. The best part about the BioMaster 250 is that it's fully compatible with this heater. It fits right inside the filter canister, so it's completely hidden from view. Just a quick reminder, always unplug your heater and let it cool down for a few minutes before you remove it. Moving the equipment inside the filter makes the tank look much cleaner. The Scaper 90 has a deep 40 centimeters footprint, and I want to keep that space open for the steep slopes of the Brazilian style. In a setup like this, every bit of visual space counts. Here's a look at everything I'm using to keep this tank stable. The core of the system is the Oase BioMaster 250. I chose this because of the easy access pre-filter, which lets me clean the sponges without opening the whole canister. For biological filtration, I'm using 1 liter of Seachem Matrix. It offers a massive surface area for the bacteria needed to support the heavy plant load in a Brazilian-style scape. Next is some white filter floss to catch fine particles and keep the water polished. I also have Seachem Purigen, but I won't be adding that just yet. Since I'm in the middle of a dark start, I'll wait until the tank is planted to use it for that final water clarity. Finally, a dose of Oase Boost bacteria to help the cycle along. It's all about building a strong foundation. Let's get the BioMaster 250 unboxed. First, we have the accessories box. It comes with everything you need to get started. The intake and outtake pipes, the hose, and all the adapters. Since I'm aiming for a clean Brazilian look in the Scaper 90, I'll be looking to upgrade these to glass pipes later, but for now, these are great for getting the tank cycled. Opening the filter is very straightforward. There's a safety locking lever here that ensures no water leaks out. This is the best part of the BioMaster, the easy access pre-filter. You just pull this out, and you can clean the sponges without ever opening the main canister. In a tank with high-power lighting like the Scaper LED, keeping your filter clean is vital to prevent algae. Being able to rinse these sponges in just a few minutes every week makes maintenance so much easier. Once that's unlocked, you just flick these side clips. The build quality feels really solid. Exactly what you'd expect for a high-end setup. Now let's look inside the main canister. It's a multi-stage system with several trays. It comes with different grades of sponges and some plastic Helix media. The sponges are great for mechanical filtration, but as I mentioned before, I'll be swapping some of this out for Seachem Matrix. The goal is to maximize the surface area for bacteria to support those heavy stem plant groups we'll be planting soon. Now for the most important part, setting up the engine of the tank. For biological filtration, I'm using Seachem Matrix. I'm carefully filling the media baskets. It might look like simple stones, but under a microscope, it's incredibly porous. This provides a massive surface area for beneficial bacteria to grow, which is the secret to keeping a high bioload Brazilian scape stable in the long run. I'm giving the matrix a thorough rinse in its basket. I'm also washing all the new sponges. Since this is a brand new filter that hasn't touched the tank yet, using tap water is perfectly safe. Just a heads up, once your tank is cycled and running, never use tap water for this. The chlorine will kill your bacteria colony. Always use old tank water for maintenance. Here is the logic behind my layering for maximum efficiency. Trays 1 and 2, the bottom I'm keeping the coarse blue sponges here. These act as the first line of defense, catching the large waste and debris before they can reach the biomedia. Keeping these clean protects your matrix from getting clogged. Tray 3, the middle, this is the heart of the filter where I'm packing in the matrix. Because highly planted scapes rely on high-density plant groups, you need this extra biological capacity to process the nutrients and ammonia the soil will release. Tray 4. The top, I've removed the standard red sponge to make space for fine water wool. This provides that final polish to the water. This is also where I'll add the Seachem Purgen later. Once the dark start is finished and it's time to plant, to ensure the water stays crystal clear against the active soil. With the media ready, I'll slide the trays back into the canister. You want to make sure they are seated perfectly so the water is forced through every layer without bypassing the media. Next, I'll slide the Oase pre-filter into its slot. This is a game changer for maintenance. It lets you clean the mechanical sponges in minutes without disturbing the biological core. Once that's in, I'll lock the main safety lever to create a vacuum seal. Finally, I'm installing the Oase Heat Up 150 into its dedicated chamber. It's a clever design that keeps the heater out of the tank entirely. I'm making sure the wire is routed correctly through the notch so the head fits perfectly. Now, the filter is finally ready to move to the tank. Next, I'm removing the tank cover. Because my room gets some natural sunlight, I've kept the tank fully covered for the past week. Even though the high-power Scaper LED is off, ambient sunlight can still trigger an algae spike while the soil is fresh and leaking nutrients. I've made sure to keep the back area ventilated, though. Oxygen is vital for the good bacteria to colonize the lava rock and soil core. Without proper air exchange, you risk creating stagnant areas that can harm the tank's long-term health. It's all about letting the biology stabilize in total darkness before we introduce the plants and the light. Now, I'm draining as much water as possible from the tank. This makes it a lot easier to work inside the cabinet and install the fittings without making a mess. It also gives me a clear view to position the intake and outflow pipes exactly where I want them. It's time to install the plumbing. The first thing I had to address was the intake pipe. It was a bit too long for the 38 centimeters height of the Scaper 90, so I used a saw to carefully cut it down to size. Customizing your gear like this ensures the intake sits at the perfect depth, low enough to pull debris from the bottom, but high enough to stay clear of the substrate. When it comes to the hoses, my tip is to keep them as short and straight as possible. If the hose is too long and loops behind the cabinet, it actually reduces the flow rate of the Oase filter. A direct path means maximum efficiency. I'm also being very deliberate with the suction cups. Make sure the glass is completely clean before pressing them on. I'm positioning them so the inflow and outflow are perfectly level and secure. This keeps the pipe stable and prevents any vibration against the OptiWhite glass. It's these small, practical adjustments that make the final setup look much more refined. With the plumbing finalized and the suction cup secure, it's time to refill the tank. Once the water level rises past the intake pipe, I can finally start the Oase BioMaster 250. This model has a built-in priming button on the top. I just give it a few firm, steady presses to create a vacuum and start the siphon. You can actually hear the air being pushed out as the water begins to rush into the canister. Keep a close eye on the tank during this part. You'll see the water level start to drop quite quickly. Because this filter has a large capacity, it's pulling several liters of water out of the tank to fill the trays and saturate all that Seachem Matrix. It's a great visual sign that the pump is doing its job and the internal media is being fully prepped. Because the level dropped so much, I'm adding one final top off to reach the perfect water line. Now for the final step, plugging in the power for both the Oase filter and the integrated heater. As soon as it's on, you can see the surface agitation starting. The flow is exactly what I was looking for. To give the biological cycle a head start, I'm adding the Oase Boost bacteria. I'm following the instructions on the bottle closely to ensure I get the right dosage for this 90-liter volume. This will help seed the Seachem Matrix and the crushed lava rock I used for the core of my slopes. Everything is now ready and running smoothly. Now, I'm putting the cover back on and heading back into the dark start phase. By keeping the tank in total darkness while the soil is fresh, I'm letting the chemistry stabilize and the bacteria colony grow without the risk of an ammonia-driven algae spike. It takes a bit of patience, but it's the best way to ensure the tank is healthy and ready when I finally bring in the plants. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on planting day.